Um... Uh... Oh. Um... What happened exactly there? I... You know... Something was in there. The reason for their departure did not sound particularly convincing. Perhaps it would be best to investigate what is happening at the Shrieker's den in the pit. Well, that's where we're going anyway, so, okay, it would have been nice to have seen that happen, but, okay. Time seems to stand still when you enter. Figures cast in shadow, huddled against the walls, turn to you. Everyone except the few standing frozen in the middle of the room with weapons in their hands. Argenta is panting, but her weapon is steadily trained on Marazai. May thy will fortify my hand. May my faith in thee grant me strength. Ulfar's rumbling, malicious laughter echoes off the lair's ceiling. A nimble pest, aren't you? You could have surrendered without a fight. I would have snapped your neck and spared you torment, but you chose to die more painfully. I'm not going to try and do a Nordic accent. Marazai, whose armor is dented in a few places, lets out a guttural laugh. What are you waiting for? It is about time we finished our little dance. Marazai lightly brandishes his blades, laughing mockingly in his opponent's face. I can continue dancing with you for a long, long time, but I'm growing weary of your pathetic attempts. What's going on? Not all your lackeys are well trained, Ophelia. As soon as I crossed the threshold of this squalid hole, I was forced to take up arms. The abomination that you have allowed into the ranks of your companions must die. This is his will and my duty, rogue traitor. Argenta's eyes burn with a frenzied, incinerating fire. Oh there! I decided to unwind by chasing this stringy Xenos across the ceiling. Join me, outfitter! I did not save Marazai's life so you could take matters into your own hands. Put your weapons away, all of you. Argenta's gaze upon you is full of condemnation. I will not oppose you, rogue traitor, though my soul may clamor for the destruction of this foul thing, but I will wait for it to give me cause. I will wait eagerly. I don't blame you. This is objectively not the correct choice, but it would be funny to have Marazai in the party, I think. Ulfar slams his gauntlet-clad fist against his armor, heaving a sigh of disappointment. I am not one to end the battle while the Xenos still stands, but no matter, scrawny inhuman. We will get the chance to finish this another time. Marazai takes his eyes off of the exit and looks at you. The contorted mask of battle rage slides from his face, and he sheathes his blades. If your lackeys have seen enough of the show, If your lackeys have seen enough of the show, I have business to discuss with you, Ophelia. Marazai is casually inspecting his armor for damage, seemingly unperturbed by the attempted reprisal against him.
Monkey, rogue trader, there is something you must do for me.
What do you need?
The soul of Erimeris, the Archon of the Reaving Tempest. It should belong to me. I do not know where, I do not know how, but that bitch tried to dispatch me without sullying her own hands, and she deserves to lose her life. Her soul will remain in my soul trap. When we at last face each other, and we will face each other, even if I have to gut all of Camorra to do it. And if you're there when it happens, do not even think of trying to deliver the final blow. Only an Aziriesh has the right to take the life of an Aziriesh, and that right is mine.
Why do you hate Rimaris so much? What was your own fault you ended up in the chasm?
It is all somewhat more complicated than you're capable of understanding. Our game of old must come to an end. My first step went awry because of Nazrake's treachery. Now all I must do is finish what I started. Destroy her with my own hands before she destroys me.
What do you want with her soul?
Simply killing her is not enough for me. No, it is too banal. Keeping her imprisoned for all eternity in a cage of misery from which there is no escape. That is a fate more to my liking. Her fury and torment will feed me until her spirit dries up like a fountain of blood spraying from a sliced artery. And also, it might make her resurrection problematic.
Resurrection? What resurrection?
Naive creature. The homunculi of Camorra, including Tavantius, whom Erimeris favors, are able to regenerate our slain kin from small pieces of flesh held in amniotic tubes. Any Drakari you kill on the field of battle can come for you again, albeit at a price, since the homunculus claims a portion of their client's soul as payment for this precautionary measure. Perhaps Erimeris was desperate enough, or insane enough, to resort to such a contract. Who knows? Having Erimeris' soul in my keeping might make her regrown form, if one appears, defective. She might not remember me or you at all.
Wait, only in Azriesh? Are you related?
Erimeris is my sister. What does it matter?
You have a complicated relationship, I see.
Yes. I valued her until she went too far in her attempts to dispose of me. She valued me until I refused to bare my throat for the blade without a word. Our relationship has come to a dead end. Now the tie between us must be severed.
Very well. Should we encounter Rimaris at any point, I shall allow you to deal the final blow.
The answer I was expecting. I do not expect to wait long for the confrontation. When my sister learns of what occurred in the arena, she will send assassins, or decide to come herself.
Marzai breaks off. All his attention is now focused on a bent plate on his shoulder. A second later, he grips the edge of the plate and with a strangled groan tears it off. The piece dislodges with a hiss. Marzai begins to straighten the bent plate with his hands, revealing the surprising strength contained within his lean body. Look at what the plate was covering. You're shocked to find no armor or clothing. No underarmor or clothing. It seems the thin, light armor is attached directly to the Drukari's pale skin, roped with veins. You notice 2 pinprick marks surrounded by purplish bruises. Something pierced his flesh, and that is what kept the armor plate in place.
What are you looking at?
After a few seconds, some ancient awareness spikes in you. The rapt attention of a deadly predator is focused on you. Your eyes dart up. Marzai's noticed your interest. Silently he turns his head to you and leans down. His eyes bore into yours, his gaze mocking and charged with promise. Your armor is held on with hooks that dig into your body. This is hardly surprising, is it now, really, but...
Correct. Directly into the nerve centers. Direct stimulation of the trigger points, provoking constant, unrelenting pain. Do you know how pleasurable it feels when your suffering rings out in unison with another's? The overwhelming ecstasy when your own agony bleeds into the agony of your enemy. My world is woven from that pleasure. I can show you that world. I can teach you, if you do as you are told.
I don't need that.
Very true. All you need to do is focus on your obligations. Let us see how you handle the tasks I've already given you. Remember, Irimeris is mine, whenever and wherever we encounter her. With that, I have nothing more to say to you.
Great. No problem, Chief. Hey, Ulfar, you wanna chat? Tell us a little bit about you?
Let us raise our cups at Vater, in honor of deeds accomplished and in expectation of those yet to come.
Why do you call me Advater?
This is the name given on Fenris to a pack father, a commander or captain. An Edvater answers to a Jarl, the commander of a great company. Since you are the one who commands your crew, and I follow you at present, I am granting you the honored title of Edvater. You, of course, are a maiden, not a father. But we have no word meeting maiden commander in our tongue, as all space wolves are men.
Well, thank you for this honor.
Be worthy of it, and see that you do not disgrace this glorious rank.
How are you planning on getting out of here?
I have had a few thoughts on that score, but don't try to pry them out of me. When the time comes, I will share them with you.
You had no idea, did you? It appears this warrior of the Emperor is blessed with brute strength, but is neither cunning nor ingenious. Yes, ingenious. He is clumsily attempting to hide his total lack of strategy for escaping behind tantalizing evasions. Why do you devour your enemies? They're just freaks. Space wolves are freaks, but...
Why do you think?
The answer seems clear to you. The bloodthirsty warrior has simply gone mad in captivity. Come to think of it, he was probably slightly deranged even before he was taken prisoner. None of these are correct, but you know, if you fail the test, that's what you expect. Is it a means of tricking your captors, pretending to be a monster?
Partly, Edvater. It is true that I have led the puny Xenos on a false trail to dull their vigilance. But that is not the only reason. Do you know of the implant called the Omophagia? It is one of the blessings the All-Father granted to his Astartes. Nerve nodes that connect the stomach walls and the spinal cord allow me to absorb information from the genetic code of the flesh I consume.
They're actually just freaks, but, you know.
I have slain many Xenos and feasted on their flesh. My captors have watched me do it and taken glee in it, while I have been gathering information and planning my escape.
Tell me about your brothers, the Space Wolves.
Not everyone is granted the right to ask such questions. But you... I shall allow it. What do you want to know about the Astartes from the glorious Fenris?
Who are the Space Wolves?
Vilka Fenrica. That is our name in the old tongue of our world. We are the fiercest of the All-Father's warriors. His executioners.
Oops.
Our fearless Wolf King is Laman Russ, son of the All-Father. Our world is Fenris, and our home the Fang, which rises from the world's spine into orbit. We are the thunder in the bloody storm of battle that calls to us. That is who we are!
Glory to the wolves of Fenris. Smiling satisfaction, the wolf graces you with a magnanimous nod.
But there is more to our spirit than grim destruction alone.
Not true.
In the Hall of Heroes, we hold feasts the likes of which you will see nowhere else. To thundering laughter, we raise our horns, tell our sagas, and honor our glorious fallen. Though the body of an Astartes is built to be immune to the effects of drink, we invented a way around this taboo. The mead we brew can overcome even our blood. It makes us drunk, and makes our feasts jovial occasions. Mead. You can brew it nowhere else but on good old Fenris. No other world is home to such poisonous plants.
Fenris, what is it like?
Fenris is home. A harsh land of harsh winters and harsh people. When comes the Hellwinter, a fearsome season of frosts, the merciless world sea freezes, and great white bears, snow wyrms, and ice trolls go on the hunt. Then, the murderous frost retreats, and boats of harpooners sail out to ply their craft, capturing sea snakes and krakens. And then comes the season of fire. Volcanoes awaken. Waves wash over whole islands, and only the land of Asaheim offers salvation to those whose blood and grit win them the right to live upon it. Clan fights clan. Crows circle over battlefields, and wolf howls rise up to the sky. That is my beloved home. There is no place in the universe like it. Tell me, Edfater, what is the most fearsome foe on Fenris?
Fenris is known as a death world for good reason. There must be dozens of lethal creatures that inhabit the planet, but which is more fearsome than all the rest? Wolves?
One cannot speak of Fenris without mentioning its wolves. Wolves are fearsome, but there are no more fearsome wolves than us. The curse of the Wolfen is the most fearsome and most terrible foe on Fenris. In the heart of every brother, there lives a dark beast, bloody and forever ravenous. He hungers to kill, not for glory or duty, or his battle brothers, but solely for the sake of killing. For he who falls to that dark beast, there is no joy or thrill in slaughter. There is but dull rancor.
They're werewolves. You know, naturally, of course. What else? In icons I have seen, Astartes look much less wild.
Our gene seed is unique. Lehman Russ blessed us with the Canis Helix, a genetic gift that heightens our senses, making them sharper than those of brothers from other chapters. The Canis Helix kindles a bloodthirst in our hearts and changes our appearance to resemble the lethal wolves of Fenris.
For a Space Marine chapter, you're far from orthodox. There's exactly one orthodox chapter. it's the Ultramarines, you know. The whole reason they're interesting is because they differ from the Codex.
The wolves do not take orders from outsiders. We keep the old ways, not the Codex Astartes. We fight in packs, and we are trained and healed by our wise rune and wolf priests. We do not find honor in adorning ourselves in laurels, but instead etch the full names of our fallen kin as a promise of vengeance, and draw strength from that promise.
What do you believe in? What do you think he's gonna say? You know, They're not exactly deep.
We believe in the great wolves.
You
In
know.
the deadly Blackmane and fierce Drakan the Thunderwolf. In redoubtable Hagar the Mountain Wolf. And in the Bloodied Hunter. In the wolf that stalks between stars, who follows us wherever we may go. And in the uncanny two-headed Mordkai, guard of the realm of the dead. Only the great wolves show us their favor. The others are more malign, but each teaches us a lesson. For that, we praise and honor them.
What do you believe in? Well, we believe in Wolf A, Wolf B, Wolf C. Fucking Space Wolves. Does that mean you do not believe in the immortal Emperor of humanity as a god?
The All-Father is not a god. He is the best of all humans, our perfect forebear. His blood flowed through the veins of Layman Russ, and Russ's blood flows in me. Does that make me a god? My respect for him has no end, and I am ready to die for him. But what place does faith have here? Is the All-Father like the massive Iron Wolf, whose every tuft of fur forms a mountain on the surface of Fenris?
This is pretty standard for most Space Marines. They don't believe the Emperor is a god because he wasn't, A, and B, he still isn't, though he might be on his way to being a Chaos God. Most Space Marines know that, but they can't exactly do anything when the whole society, except for them, revolves around the idea that he's a god, you know? It's unfortunate. The Emperor would be so mad.
As the Sun Wolf, which rises to hunt every morning and fills our world with light. The All-Father is not a god, but the highest of humanity. Ordinary humans struggle to grasp this. But we, his warriors and offspring, remember the truth.
I also believe the Emperor is a man and not a god, though he might be a Chaos God soon. You know, if we turn the Astronomicon off, that might actually happen.
It makes his deeds all the more glorious. Battling gods is child's play when you yourself are a god. But if you are a man... now, that is the stuff that sagas are made of.
I've never actually heard anyone articulate it quite like that. That makes a lot of sense. Yes, it does make him more impressive, doesn't it? But, you know, I just... What a novel way to put it. I wouldn't have expected that from a Space Wolf. What else do your wise priests do?
The Khan the Ruined Wolf once shared the mysteries of the healing potions and the secrets of magic sagas. He taught them to see the past and future in throne runes, to call down storms, and to carve powerful talismans.
You said you sense not the slightest power emanating from the charms Ulfar is wearing. Damn, we fucking suck, dude. You spoke of full names that give you strength. What's your name in that case?
Ulfar Redmane. That is what my brothers call me.
Given the warrior's boastful nature, the indifference with which he revealed his name is surprising. It seems he does not trust you enough to disclose his true name. Fair enough. I understand.
Do you? And there I was, about to round off my story with a short 400-verse saga about the gifts of Lacan the Ruined Wolf.
My curiosity has been satisfied.
Should what I told you reach other ears, I shall take your tongue.
How did you end up here?
What do you want to know? What brought the Space Wolves to the Expanse? Or how I ended up in the non-human's Dark City?
Why did you come to the Coronis Expanse?
An inquisitor by the name of Calcazar put out a call for aid. My wolf lord did not refuse him, and had 2 packs deployed to the Expanse. We never trusted this ally, but a blood debt for a service rendered in the past forced our hand.
Though it wields immense power, when it comes to the Astartes, even the Inquisition chooses to make requests rather than commands, though they are fully capable of making commands. The Space Wolves are not known for being close allies of the Inquisition. How strange, then, that the chapter sent not 1 but 2 squads in response to this request, when 1 squad alone is capable of crushing a planetary uprising. 2 packs just like that. The Space Wolves must have taken his request seriously.
Insightful. We'd had no dealings with this Calcazar before this, and we did not trust him. 2 packs meant twice as many eyes to watch out for his games and schemes. And then...
This is a bit of a tangent, but it's just kind of cool. There was this time... This is like the one cool Space Wolves thing ever, right? Like, so the Inquisition were doing some not cool stuff. Some mild eugenics and genocide. A little bit of Nazi shit, basically. And the Grey Knights were in on this as well. The Grey Knights are like Space Marines Plus, by the way. Tiny chapter, but immensely powerful in comparison. So the Wolves were having beef with them, and this one Space Wolf commander was talking to a Grand Master Grey Knight, and they didn't see eye to eye, so the Space Wolf commander just promptly cut this Grey Knight Grand Master in half at the waist in a single blow, which is astonishing, but, the one cool thing they ever did. But yes, the Space Wolves are particularly not fond of the Inquisition. They've had beef before. Not that anyone likes the Inquisition. No one likes cops, okay?
The Coronis Expanse is a wild hunting ground teeming with prey. And the Space Wolves will be the first to turn its snow scarlet. The Jarl decided to send the most indomitable hunters who hunger for honor and bloodshed. 1 pack would have fulfilled its duty for the sake of pride, but 2 would seek to outdo each other for the sake of glory.
What debt did you owe the Inquisitor?
He saved our brother who had lost the pack and was unable to look after himself or the chapter's honor. Calcazar returned our brother to Fenris and kept secret the misfortune that had befallen him. The Jarl knew that the Inquisitor's actions were driven by opportunism, and the desire to have us mighty warriors in his debt. But honor forced him to be hospitable to the stranger, and swear an oath of friendship.
Why did the Space Wolves not trust the Lord Inquisitor? Stupid question, honestly, but...
The Inquisition. Pah! Rats! Scurrying around the All-Father's house and ruling it in the Master's absence. Cowards they are. The last into battle, but the first on any war council. We saw what they were worth in the months of shame.
You have never heard of the Months of Shame. It is probably something from Fenrisian history. I'm pretty sure that that's exactly the story I was just telling.
An ancient strife. If you do not know of it, then you are not supposed to know.
Fair enough, but I'm pretty sure the Months of Shame was the thing I just talked about. The Nazi shit. I have also met Xavier Calcazar, and I do not trust him. I do not trust Calcazar. He is suspicious.
We also decided to be cautious. His words flowed like honey, and he seemed an honorable man. But lies always look like proof, don't they?
So true, King.
That arrogant chief thought he could give us orders. But we wolves have always followed our own instincts and hunted in our own way. I wager that boiled his blood.
What do you know of Calcazar's plans and objectives?
In warm furs, the old man does shroud his body. In cloaks of secrets woven, shrouds the sly man his plans. To know his dire purpose, swallow not the words of poison, but his gristle.
How did you end up a captive?
We had gone on a raid for Xenos prisoners and fell into a trap. We had no war machines to support us, and some of our squad were wounded, so we were forced to retreat. I ordered my battle brothers to leave, but I remained behind to meet our guests. I do not know how many of the feeble wretches I slew, but I would have killed even more had their towering piles of bodies not hindered me in combat. They wounded me and captured me. They froze the joints in my armor. When they dragged me to their ship, 2 of my battle brothers descended up the Xenos and tried to free me. An insane plan, but it almost succeeded. Almost. And so there were 3 of us taken captive. And then there were 2. And then I was alone once again.
What happened to the other 2?
They fell. With honor.
Your fallen brothers, who were they?
Their saga is one I will not sing to you. You have spilled no blood with them, nor shared with them meat unmewed. Their spirits might be outraged if they knew I had sung of their deeds to a stranger.
I am sorry they died.
Yes, so am I.
Tell me about your time in Gamora.
These are dark days you are asking about, Ed Fatter. Let my keen-edged friend be a witness to the ferocity of my words. I was given to Tarvantius for his amusement. In the arenas of Gamora, Astartes are a rarity. And he sent me out there to kill gladiators. Living as an inglorious butcher and a Xenos' puppet, I hated it. Constantly. Every moment. I had to take care of my mind before it was twisted to the 7 hells. Every morning I made entreaties to the All-Father, and every night I appealed to Russ. I trained my body, read the litanies, and in the darkest moments I recited my own saga. I recalled every battle, every wound, every brother. And that is how I survived. I always survive.
I see.
This was a bleak saga, Edfator.
Answer a few questions about yourself.
Instinct bids me to remain silent. Such knowledge is not to be shared with just anyone. Only those who possess my complete trust.
Fair enough. I must take my leave.
Fenris Hilda, Edfator.
Alright. We should probably also talk to Marzai, right? Where is he? Pascal. Oh, there he is. Marzai Azrash stares down at you from his formidable height, his head slightly tilted to one side. The lean, wiry Xenos is encased in black armor. Not even a sliver of a gap has been left between the tightly fitted plates, which bristle with mutely gleaming barbs and hooks. Set in a wild, Set in a white face, striated with crimson tattoos, dark eyes devour you, burning with predatory, malevolent interest. I want to know what happened before you took me to Kimura.
You want to know how and to what end I orchestrated all of this? Ask your questions.
Why did you kidnap me?
When Irimaris ordered us to lay waste to the monkey settlements, Tazara and I encountered resistance. I have hunted your kin too long not to notice how well you in particular were fending off our attacks. The rout in Tazara's arena, the appearance at the plundered vessel. Your kind are usually powerless against us, but not on that occasion. I began to suspect that you could not have managed it without outside help. Help from our side.
Funny you should say that. You're not the only one to accuse me of this.
I began sending out spies and assassins. My eyes and ears infiltrated your vessel, your cities, and they discovered a trail that led back to one of your worlds. A trail that ended with a burned monkey, the source of the information about where and when my cabal was going to strike. A little trickery to draw you away from the planet. And I had your little informant in my grasp. How the information was reaching his agents, the burned monkey himself did not even know. But based on the units involved and other details, it was clear. No monkey in real space could have gathered such specifics about raid complements and objectives. No, it was inconceivable. The information was being fed to you by my own kind, and I knew who. Irimaris Aziriesh, Archon of the Reaving Tempest, my former mistress. A cowardly bitch who punishes anyone who threatens her grip on power. I knew that to win a war against her, I would need the support of the Reaving Tempest's patron, the Cabal of the Black Heart. So I allied with Nazrake, who presided over the trial. I promised him that Irimaris would be humiliated. I promised him evidence. A lowly monkey that would disgrace Irimaris in the eyes of the Archons. For that performance, I needed you.
A shame that I had no idea who Irimaris even was at the time, isn't it? You have spies aboard my ship?
Of course. If I'm not mistaken, you met the infiltrator yourself. A Cabalite who left a lava from Tavantius in one of the monkey. Or did you never work out the reason for the treachery during the raid on your ship so long ago now? Then there is no need for me to mention the sleeper agents hidden on your worlds.
What arrangements did you make with Nazrake?
Overthrowing an Archon is far from easy, even one who has already tarnished her reputation. Every member of a Cabal has their supporters, and Irimaris is no exception. Nazrake promised me a sham trial in the Obsidian Court with a predetermined outcome. Irimaris should have been convicted and dethroned. I was supposed to take her place and turn the Reaving Tempest into a loyal vassal of the Black Heart. Nazrake was supposed to be the axe that fell on her neck. But it fell on mine instead. It was devious and worthy of praise, but why? A secret pact with Irimaris, or is there another reason? I will tear the answer from his throat along with his final breath. It must be said that Nazrake did not have to try very hard to turn the court against me. Not after the stunt you pulled before the assembled Archons.
The tribunal, what was that about? I was being tried by the Inquisitor and Heinrichs and Theodora. Why?
Who? I have no idea what you saw in your stupor. The homunculus's creature does not elicit specific images. It muddles your mind, forcing it to paint suitable pictures evoking confusion or fear. Neither Tavantius nor I care about fussy monkey rituals. The lava must have created a suitable environment for you. One in which you would be more willing to answer my questions in the Obsidian Court.
What were you and Tazra doing in my protectorate?
What do any of my kind do in real space? We were reaping. Kamara was clamoring for meat. The Dark City had suffered losses in the latest disjunction. We needed sources of sweet pain to prime its minds and bodies. When the Archon bade my cabal collect the harvest from the region, I did not suspect that it would turn into this game between you and me.
A disjunction is when Kimura sort of changes shape. It's a bit unstable, so sometimes parts of it move around. You and your light conspiring together. How did that come about?
Conspiring? No. There was no plot between us. She merely rushed to my bait. At first, I planned to use the one you trusted, the burned monkey with whom we had spent long hours awaiting your arrival. But my cousin was so swift. Afterward, she tracked down the monkey, killed him, and took the device that he had been using to contact me. I planted the first poison seeds in her soul back at our first meeting. I dropped a hint that I knew what had become of her world. I lured her in and left her with you. Time took care of the rest. That and an unpleasant discovery aboard your own ship. I did not ask her to hand you over to me. No, doing that would have made my poor cousin doubt herself even more than she was already. I simply told her where to seek out the traces of her craft world and the answers to her questions. A favor for a kinswoman, nothing more. And then I made ready for your arrival. For the only way she would reach that place was with you.
I cannot believe Achilles betrayed humanity.
When a monkey is left alone with me and my art of pain, I plunge them into a deep well of suffering from which they will do anything to escape. Your kind have fragile souls. Your convictions and principles are a delusion that lends a mirage of meaning to your lives. Achilles and I had plenty of time alone together before your arrival. When he went out to meet you, he was already mine. I bought his loyalty with a promise to never touch his body or his mind ever again.
Which was doubtlessly a lie, but still, what do you know about your light's craft world?
I know it exists. I know that my cabal found it, helpless and stationary, unable to protect its sons and daughters. I know that Iliad's kin began showing up as prisoners in the Reaving Tempest Spire, where they were fonts of exquisite, delightful pain. I spent too much time beyond the limits of our home to learn more than that. But that was enough to tempt Iliad with false hope.
Oh, it's Iliad? Fuck. So you had no intention of helping Iliad?
Why do you say that? I promised to reunite her with her kin. A long-awaited reunion in a torture chamber. I find that very touching. They would have had so much to discuss. But there would have been time for fun as well. We cousins get together so rarely, after all.
That was one of the most repugnant line deliveries I've ever heard in my life. What a revolting way. God damn. Drukhari fucking suck. Dude, holy shit. The voice actors are so good in this game. Goddamn. Tell her the truth, now.
We've already had words. I have no reason to conceal the truth now. Iliad has outlived her usefulness to me. Watching her face as she learned the truth was priceless.
What were those creatures with you when you captured me?
Mandrakes. A foul breed that lurks in the bowels of Camorra. Their ability to find paths through the shadows was put to good use. I promised them forbidden trophies from the Reaving Tempest's coffers once I am Archon.
You made a promise to the mandrakes you cannot keep. Aren't you afraid of retribution?
Let them come for what they're owed. They will regret it.
The theft of Rykad's son, was that your doing?
Did you not hear me when I answered you the first time? I do not like to repeat myself.
That's enough for now.
Then what else do you need?
What happened to you after the trial?
I was handed over to the witch cult to do with as they wished. First, they made me fight the dregs in the arena, and then, once they had had their fill of my debasement, I was granted entry into the blood-stained proselytes.
What did you hope to gain by agreeing to become a proselyte?
The continuation of my existence. When I lost my standing, I became fair game for anyone tempted by the prospect of slaying a disgraced Cabalite. For vengeance, or just for the pleasure of the kill. In Camorra, a lone Drukhari is a target. My talents may be prodigious, but I held no illusions about my chances.
You did not find much favor among the witches, it seems.
You cannot hope to understand the intricacies of Camorra and how it is structured. We are all each other's allies and worst enemies here. Towers of strength and duplicitous traitors both. The cults have always been half a step below the cabals in the hierarchy. And the witches relished the chance to abuse someone who once looked down on them.
That will do.
If our conversation is finished...
When given the chance to join me, you took it readily. That surprised me.
I had no intention of ending my days playing the role of meat in the arena. And then you blithely offered me an alliance after what I'd done to you. Why?
I thought it would be funny, but that's not actually an answer, so you intrigue me.
I intrigue you. An interesting turn of phrase. You are not afraid of me, but intrigued by me. Well, perhaps I will deign to satisfy your curiosity, if you submit to me.
Absolutely not. There will be no heterosexuality here. Also, you're disgusting and slimy. Take your claws off me.
Then stop saying things you do not mean. It is dangerous for your kind.
Tell me about Camorra.
The Dark City is the bastion of the Drukhari, the most magnificent of all our strongholds. The cabals, witch cults, and the incubi inhabit the place, with swarms of scourges flying overhead and a myriad of misfits and horrors, including the covens of the homunculi wallowing underfoot. Which do you want to know about?
You're from a Drukhari cabal, correct?
The cabals are the foundation upon which rests the power of the one who rules Camorra, Asdrubal Vecht. Whether it is a mob of berserkers or an organized cartel, their essence is the same. An army of killers, ready to ravage entire worlds at the behest of their leaders. Or to rip out the throats of a neighboring cabal in a war declared by the Archons.
I wish to know more about the witch cults.
What more do you need to know that you have not already beheld with your own eyes? They are the mistresses of the arenas, and they're the gladiators who feed the audience in their ravenous agony with exquisite spectacles. Cults often travel to real space on the Cabal's raids, to revel in the pain and to capture fresh meat for their arenas.
the witches are in fact my favorite part of the Drukhari, because they're mostly only women. So, you know, they're pretty hot. What are the incubi orders?
The aloof incubi. They dedicate their lives to the art of killing, so much so that they do not plot or chase after delicious torment. All their hatred and longing for suffering are channeled toward perfecting their skill.
Tell me about the scourges.
Winged Drukhari, who have chosen to go through an agonizing process to become such a monstrosity. They escort raiding ships and inflict the first strike on the enemy. In Camorra, these creatures huddled in flocks so that they do not fall victim to the more formidable of their kin.
I am interested in the homunculi covens.
Artists of the flesh who prefer to hide away in their laboratories and create nightmares from the materials their servants supply. Engines of pain, grotesques, racks, all are the fruits of their subtle craft.
That will do. Any thoughts on how to escape this place?
On a mountain of bodies, bathing in our enemies' tears and blood. Do not deceive yourself by thinking we will escape this place alive without violence. I, for one, hope that there will be plenty of it.
Don't recall saying that would happen, but okay.
But there is one unfortunate detail. An Arabenian has stepped into your path, one of Kegarak's tribe, who lurk in the tangle of the webway. I've heard them called harlequins in your tongue. The one that appeared in the Obsidian Court is the most dangerous and unpredictable of all. I'm beginning to think that his visit is a sign that the events unfolding around us have not been left to chance. Perhaps they are the result of interference, at the behest of the highest authority.
My companions have made no further attempts to kill you.
They have not, to my deepest regret. Perhaps it is I who should try to show some initiative now.
I must take my leave.
Do not keep me waiting too long. My weapon is tired of languishing in its sheath.
Alright, well, now that we've talked to those two, let's get out of here. We gotta go talk to the opera, right? Or, well, you know, not talk to the opera, but go to the opera. Let's see. Irliet, you're out. Mazai, you're in. The cooler type of elf. Eldari are just so boring, man. Fucking elves.
Keep your wits about you.
No. The rising currents carry the smell of pain, blood, ichor, and failed ambitions. The smells of the dark city. With my wings flung open, I weave a path through the spires like a dark lightning bolt, chaotic and unpredictable in its patterns. To fly is to hunt, and everyone in flight hunts everyone else. Even I, Scourge Darthriet Bloodfeather, do not have the privilege of invulnerability around these parts. I may become someone else's prey, except probably not today. This day, I am the hunter. My homunculus and modified olfactory receptors pick up the scent of my prey, and I tread cautiously as I approach. The stench of monkey is foul but varied, and the scent of my prey is quite telling. A powerful specimen, brash and reeking of the blood of others. I descend to the minaret that grows out of the nearest spire, and provides me with an excellent view. Accelerated reflexes allow me to assess the situation in a fraction of an instant. It is time. But still I decide to wait and get a better look at the prey. A female monkey, a pampered upper caste cub who was fed and equipped with the best their race can offer. It's certainly arrived in the Dark City recently, the city which has not yet managed to leave a mark of perpetual expectation of doom on its flattened snout. The most glorious game which clings to life, and the most glorious game which clings to life the strongest and leaves the sweetest death essence. The reflexes urge the muscles to act. I act. The shard carbine spews forth a stream of crystalline projectiles that howl and shatter as they pierce the flesh of the prey. A deadly slashing blizzard drapes the street in bloody snow, the bodies of random passers-by caught in the fire falling to the ground. This is a common occurrence in the spires. Everyone around me flees from the field of death, whose borders I have made clear. The prey falls, but it is still alive. I did not expect the hunt to end with the first salvo. The prey is badly injured, but I can easily finish it off in the open. The prey... Not great odds. Summons companions to its aid. A mistake. I unleash a new fan of crystalline shards, and the flesh of the prey blossoms with new cuts from my projectiles. Anyone who tries to approach it will be killed by the brittle shrapnel. The prey should have run away, not given me more chances to cripple it. The prey is weak. It's trying to locate me. Oh, we did it. Its frantic gaze is looking for my winged features. The hyperpupils allow me to examine the prey's face. I can see its eyes scrutinize my gear. There's no need to hide anymore, so I stand up to my full height and emit a wailing battle cry. Let the prey know what will kill it. The prey breaks into a run. Clever. By escaping from the open streets, the prey has deprived me of the advantage of my long-range weapon. But I will not let it escape. So I spread my wings and saw over the alley, pelting the prey with bursts of indirect fire. The chase must not end too soon. The positioner wanted my prey to die slowly. There is a strangeness to the movements of the prey, as it dashes away one moment and freezes the next. My receptoriprin-altered pupils are adept at detecting movement, but they are worse at perceiving stationary subjects, and my prey seems to be aware of this. The prey... Well, that's the highest. Flees down the most predictable and straightforward route, hoping its strength does not abandon it. Perhaps the body of my prey was modified, or it simply abounds with vigor. Even the heavy wounds inflicted by the first salvo cannot slow it down. I emit a frustrated shriek as I watch the path of my projectiles follow the prey without reaching its flesh. The hunt continues. The prey manages to elude me for a moment by ducking into a crowded street. The jet booster on my back emits a stream of ghostly blue flame, and I continue my pursuit. As I storm into the street, I see the prey again. This is a nice catch. The petitioner wanted me to deliver the prey to her, but I decided to do something different. When it is over, I will impale the body of the prey on a spike protruding from the highest spire, so that it serves as testament to my victory. The initial horror caused by my sudden attack has already worn off. The prey has suppressed its panic and is acting decisively and boldly, a commendable triumph of will over instinct. Seeking to slow me down, the prey... turns some bystanders against me. It only takes the prey a couple of furious shouts to convince those huddled in the alley that a monster is coming for their heads. Lies. I am only pursuing the prey. I am met with frantic gunfire, and after making a sharp ascent, I take a pair of plasma grenades from my belt and hurl them into the crowd. The bodies of the gullible fools who believe the prey evaporate and turn into bloody mist. The luckier ones fire at me, and the one of the shots brings me to the ground. I wail furiously and finish them off with a pointed burst from my shard carbine. To cast me down is an indelible insult. The conclusion is drawing closer. As I turn the corner, I triumphantly realize that I have driven the prey into a dead end. It's time for the massacre. The poison I received from the petitioner as payment for the hunt is contained in the crystalline projectiles and should have worked by now. It will slow down the nervous system of my prey, weaken its muscles, and render it unconscious. When I spot the prey, I am pleased to note the early stages of the effect my combat toxin is having on it. Its movements are slowed, and it's blinking often. Spots are floating in front of its eyes by now. Fuck. The prey is not where I expected it to be. Having climbed the ledge of a wall, it lunges at me and bellows. With my wings folded, I ratchet up the jet booster and glide under the prey. It lands behind me, disappointed. Everything will be over in moments. The outcome will be decided in close combat. Wasting no time, my prey and I seize one another in a violent, furious embrace. Every decision made over the course of this fleeting hunt is being weighed, tipping the scale that will ultimately determine the winner. My embedded glands spew hyperadrenaline into my bloodstream, and my artificially grown muscles convulsively swell under the porous fabric of my ghost plate. I torment the prey with claws protruding from my forearms and knees. The prey banks on brute strength, trying to break my fragile bones and shatter my joints. Powerful blows crush the hollow bones drilled by the crafty homunculus. Their lightness served me well during the flight, but has betrayed me here on the ground. I lose my footing, my body going floppy like a rag. My strength waning, I reach for the shard carbine and shoot the prey right in the face at point-blank range. The crystalline projectile whizzes within a hair's breadth of its face. A crushing blow turns my magnificent weapon to rubble with a mournful crunch. The prey grabs me by the throat, lifts me into the air, and snarls. It seems to want to know why I attempted to kill it. Would I tell it if I could? About my petitioner, Kikaros the Witch? About how insulted she was by the deaths of her fosterlings, the blood-stained proselytes in the arenas at the hands of my prey? About how badly she wanted to spite the prey's master, the sour-tempered homunculus Tervantius, who had arranged that insult? I do not know, for my throat is crushed, and only a faint wail escapes it. I die. I am dying at the feet of my prey. No, at the feet of a monkey. A humiliating end for one who had earned the status of an apex hunter of Camorra through torturous alterations of the flesh and a bloody pilgrimage to the very top of the spires. Does it hurt to perish like this? It does. Is it fair? It is. The chaotic burst of violence that bloodied the streets of Camorra ends just as abruptly as it had erupted. Such is life in the spires. That was cool. That was very cool. Written from the perspective of the guy trying to kill me. How novel. Tight. And now it's time to level up again.